Imagine for a moment that your brain is a rechargeable battery. Every single morning, you pour a hot, steaming cup of coffee to charge it up. You smell that rich aroma, you take that first sip, and you feel that spark. For about 90 minutes, you feel sharp. You feel ready to conquer the day. But then, almost like clockwork, that spark doesn't just fade away gently. It crashes, and it usually happens at the worst possible time. You aren't just back to your baseline. You are actually worse off than when you started. The brain fog rolls in thicker than before. You walk into the kitchen and completely forget why you went in there. You struggle to find simple words in conversation, or you feel that low-level anxiety and jitters in your chest. This is what I call the caffeine debt loop, and millions of seniors are trapped in it right now. Most people accept this roller coaster as a natural part of aging. They think their memory is slipping simply because the calendar pages are turning. I am here to tell you that is a lie. It is not your age. It is your fuel source. What if I told you that the coffee isn't the enemy, but it is incomplete? It is missing a crucial partner. A partner that doesn't just borrow energy from your future self, but physically rebuilds the neurons in your memory center. Today, I'm introducing you to the smart mushroom that changes everything. It turns your morning brew from a temporary stimulant into a cognitive superfuel that protects your mind for the long haul. Hello, and welcome back. I am Dr. Kenji Sato. You are watching the Senior Wellness Center, the premier community on the internet dedicated to biohacking for longevity with dignity. My mission here is simple. I don't just want to help you live longer. I want to help you live sharper, stronger, and more independently. We take complex medical science and translate it into simple tools for your daily life. You see, biohacking isn't just for young tech billionaires in Silicon Valley. It is for us. It is about reclaiming control over our biology so we can enjoy our golden years without the fear of cognitive decline. Too many of us settle for senior moments and fatigue, but modern neuroscience proves that with the right nutrients, neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells, is absolutely possible at 60, 70, or even 80 years old. Today, we are going to fix your morning routine once and for all. We are going to stop the crash, eliminate the jitters, and start rebuilding your brain architecture, one cup at a time. But to understand the solution, we first need to understand why your current cup of coffee is failing you. Let's dive into the physiology of the crash. So, let's look at what is actually happening under the hood. You drink your coffee, and within 20 minutes, you feel that surge. You feel awake, but biologically, coffee does not give you energy. It borrows it. In your brain, there is a chemical called adenosine. Think of adenosine as the parking brake for your consciousness. From the moment you wake up, this chemical slowly builds up, pulling the brake tighter and tighter to make you sleepy. When you drink coffee, the caffeine molecules rush in, but they don't dissolve the adenosine. They don't remove the brake. They simply block the sensor. Imagine you are driving a car, and the check engine light comes on. Caffeine doesn't fix the engine. It just puts a piece of black tape over the light so you can't see it. You feel fine, but the problem is still building up in the background. While the caffeine is working, your body continues to produce adenosine. It piles up behind a dam. It is waiting. And this is the critical part that nobody tells you. Once your liver processes the caffeine and the tape peels off, all that built-up adenosine floods your brain at once. That is the crash. That is why you feel heavier and more tired at 11 a.m. than if you had never drunk the coffee at all. But the crash is only half the story. The other issue is stress. You see, caffeine triggers your adrenal glands to release cortisol. Cortisol is your body's primary stress hormone. Evolution designed this response for one reason: survival. It is the fight or flight mechanism. When your cortisol spikes, your body thinks it is in danger. Your heart rate goes up, your muscles tense, and your vision narrows. This was very useful for our ancestors when they were running away from a saber-toothed tiger. But when you are sitting at your kitchen table trying to finish a crossword puzzle or balance your checkbook, this biological state is a disaster. Here is the connection to memory that most doctors miss. When your brain thinks it is fighting a tiger, it shuts down non-essential functions. And guess what is considered non-essential in a life or death situation? Complex memory recall and creative thinking. If a tiger is chasing you, your brain does not care where you left your car keys. It does not care about the name of that actor in the movie you saw last night. It only cares about running. So, by drinking cup after cup of coffee, you are chemically tricking your brain into a state of panic. You feel wired, yes, but you are also chemically inhibiting the very part of your brain responsible for clear, calm thinking. You get the jitters, the anxiety, and that feeling of a racing mind that can't hold on to a thought. You are stepping on the gas pedal while the parking brake is still on, and your engine, your brain, is starting to smoke. We need to change the chemistry. We need to tell your brain to release the brake gently without pulling the fire alarm. And that is exactly what our special ingredient does. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Doctor, Kenji, I'm 70 years old. My brain is what it is. The damage is done. I hear this every day in my clinic, and it breaks my heart because it is based on outdated science. For decades, even we doctors were taught a lie. We were taught that you are born with a set number of brain cells, and from the moment you hit adulthood, they just slowly die off until you fade away. That is false. We now know about something called neuroplasticity. Your brain is not made of dry cement. It is plastic. It is malleable. It can change, adapt, and physically restructure itself until your very last breath. And even more exciting is a process called neurogenesis. This literally means the birth of neurons. Yes, your brain can grow new cells right now, this afternoon, if you give it the right signal. The key to this process is a specific protein called NGF, or nerve growth factor. This is the holy grail of brain health. I want you to visualize your brain as a vast, beautiful garden. Your neurons are the plants, and the synapses, the connections between them, are the roots intertwining beneath the soil. When we are young, the soil is rich, the rain is plentiful, the garden is wild and overgrown. But as we age, if we don't tend to it, the soil dries out. The roots shrink back, the connections break. This is what happens when you forget a name. The plant holding that memory is still there, but the root connecting it to your speech center has withered. You can't reach it. NGF is the fertilizer. It is the miracle grow for your brain. When you increase levels of nerve growth factor, you are literally watering that dry soil. The roots start to reach out again. They find each other. They reconnect. Dormant neurons that were shutting down suddenly wake up and start firing signals again. Imagine what that would feel like. Imagine walking into a room and knowing exactly why you are there. Imagine seeing your grandchild's face and their name popping into your mind instantly without that painful pause. Imagine picking up a new hobby, learning a new language, or mastering a new recipe at 75 and feeling like it's easy. That is not a fantasy. That is the biological potential of your brain when it has high levels of NGF. The problem is, your body produces less NGF as you age. It needs a catalyst. It needs a trigger to restart that production factory. And caffeine alone cannot do this. Caffeine is just the electricity. It's not the repair crew. We need something that can go in and actually flip the switch for growth. And this is where nature provides a solution that pharmaceutical companies have been trying to replicate for years. A natural ingredient that has been used for centuries, but only recently proven in clinical trials to skyrocket NGF production. It's time to meet the partner your coffee has been waiting for. The secret ingredient is a functional mushroom called lion's mane. Now, please, do not click away. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, Dr. Kenji, I do not want my morning latte to taste like a mushroom pizza. I promise you, it does not. Lion's mane has a very mild, earthy flavor that completely disappears when mixed with coffee. You won't even know it's there, but your brain will know. This isn't a culinary mushroom like a button mushroom or a portobello. In Eastern medicine, it was reserved for royalty because of its potency. Today, we know exactly why it works. The magic lies in two specific compounds found only in this mushroom, haricinones and erinacines. These are tongue twisters, I know, but they are incredibly important. Most supplements you take never actually reach your brain. They get digested in your stomach, processed by your liver, and excreted. Why? Because of the blood-brain barrier. Think of the blood-brain barrier as the ultimate security checkpoint at an airport. Its job is to keep toxins, viruses, and bacteria out of your command center. It is extremely strict. It stops almost everything. This is why eating blueberries or taking generic vitamins doesn't give you an instant memory boost. The molecules are simply too big or too unrecognized to get past security. They get turned away at the gate. But the compounds in lion's mane, specifically the arenosines, have a unique VIP pass. They have a low molecular weight that allows them to slip right through that security checkpoint. Once they cross that barrier and enter the brain tissue, they go straight to work stimulating the synthesis of nerve growth factor. They don't just protect the neurons you have. They signal the creation of new ones. This is rare in nature. Very few substances can do this. A study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry showed that these compounds could stimulate neurite outgrowth, that's the branching of your brain cells, more effectively than synthetic drugs. So when you add this to your coffee, you are doing something revolutionary. The caffeine wakes you up, but the lion's mane enters the construction site and starts repairing the foundation. However, there is a catch, a big one. Not all lion's mane is created equal. If you buy the wrong kind, you are essentially just eating expensive sawdust. Let me show you how to spot the difference. Here is the dirty secret of the supplement industry. Many companies know lion's mane is popular, so they cut corners to maximize profit. They grow the mushroom mycelium, which is like the root system on big bags of rice or oats. When they harvest it, they don't separate the roots from the grain. They grind it all up together. So when you buy that cheap powder, you aren't getting pure mushroom. You are getting mostly ground up starch with a tiny bit of fungal roots. You want the fruiting body. That is the actual mushroom cap. That is where the highest concentration of haracinones lives. If the label mentions mycelial biomass or oats, put it back on the shelf. Furthermore, these compounds are locked inside tough cell walls made of chitin. Your stomach acid cannot break down chitin effectively. You need an extraction process. Specifically, you need a dual extract. This means they used hot water to pull out the water-soluble compounds and alcohol to pull out the fat-soluble ones. Without this dual process, you are missing half the medicine. It can be tricky to find a real dual extract brand that doesn't use fillers. The labels are often confusing on purpose. I've linked the specific organic powder I use and trust in the description and pinned comment below so you don't waste your money on fake stuff. This is the one that guarantees the fruiting body and the proper extraction method. Now, I know some of you are minimalists. You're thinking, Dr. Kenji, I don't want to measure powders and play chemist at 7 a.m. I just want to drink my coffee. I get it. There are pre-mixed mushroom coffees out there. But again, be careful. Most of them are just instant coffee with a dusting of mushrooms, maybe 50 milligrams. That is not enough to change your brain. You need a therapeutic dose. You want at least 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams of lion's mane per serving to feel the cognitive benefit. Anything less is just marketing. Most store-bought blends are weak, but I found one that actually hits that 1,000 milligrams threshold. I dropped a link to that high-potency blend in the description for those of you who just want a grab-and-go solution. But if you are ready to take this to the elite level, what I call the God Mode protocol, you need to add one final ingredient. This is the secret to unlocking the full power of the mushroom. Welcome to the God Mode protocol. This is where we turn a healthy drink into a cognitive rocket ship. The missing piece of the puzzle is healthy fat. Did you know that your brain is nearly 60% fat? It is the fattiest organ in your body. It craves lipids for insulation and for building new cell membranes. Remember those arenosines I mentioned earlier? The ones that cross the blood-brain barrier? They are alcohol-soluble, but they are also lipophilic, meaning they love fat. Having a lipid carrier helps transport these compounds straight into your system. But don't just use butter or heavy cream. We want something faster. We want MCT oil. This stands for medium-chain triglycerides. Unlike normal fats that have to be digested slowly, MCTs bypass digestion and go straight to the liver, where they are instantly converted into ketones. Ketones are a cleaner, more efficient fuel for your brain than sugar. While caffeine stimulates the neurons, ketones feed them. This combination eliminates the jitters and provides a grounded, laser-like focus that lasts for hours. I specifically recommend a C8 MCT oil because it converts to ketones the fastest and has zero taste. You can find the exact bottle I use in the description list. It's a game changer for avoiding the caffeine crash. Now, here is the technique. You cannot just stir this with a spoon. Oil and water do not mix. If you just stir it, you will end up with an oily slick on top of your coffee that burns your lips. It's gross. You need to emulsify it. You need to smash those oil droplets into microscopic size so they suspend in the liquid. This is what gives lattes that creamy, frothy texture. You don't need a giant blender for this. I use a simple handheld electric frother. It takes 10 seconds, costs next to nothing, and makes the drink taste like it came from a barista. I've linked the one I use down below as well. So here is the final recipe. 1 cup of high-quality organic coffee. 1 teaspoon of dual extract lion's mane powder, about 1 gram. And 1 teaspoon of C8 MCT oil. Froth it until it is light and creamy. When you drink this, you aren't just waking up. You are fueling neurogenesis. You are protecting your memory. You are biohacking your morning. The benefits of this protocol go far beyond just remembering where you left your reading glasses. We are talking about your emotional well-being, too. You see, inflammation in the brain often doesn't feel like pain. It feels like brain fog, anxiety, and low mood. By reducing this inflammation, lion's mane has been shown to help alleviate symptoms of mild depression and anxiety. When you are calmer, your memory works better. When your memory works better, you feel more confident. It is a positive feedback loop that spirals upward instead of downward. So here is my challenge to you. Do not just take my word for it. Be your own scientist. Give this God Mode coffee a try for just 14 days. Don't change anything else about your diet or your routine. Just add the mushroom extract and the healthy fat to your morning brew. Then, pay attention. Pay attention to how easily you recall names. Notice how long you can sustain attention on a book. And most importantly, notice how you feel at 3 p.m. when you usually crash. You might find you are still going strong. I know finding the right supplements can be overwhelming with so many fake brands out there. To make it easy for you, I have curated a list of the exact organic powder, the C8 MCT oil, and the frother, the first use. You can find all those direct links in the first pinned comment below this video. These are the tools I trust for my own brain health. If you found this helpful, please click the subscribe button to join our community. But don't stop here. Hydration is the next pillar of memory. I've got another video discussing how water impacts brain function in ways you wouldn't expect. Click right here to keep optimizing your mind. I am Dr. Kenji Sato, and I will see you in the next one.